hello everyone, we are the group 10 and here we discuss about the video sorting for fluorescence. So today I will demonstrate the video sorting using the ITLSP and RTSP. So physically what is RTSP? So it's entire form of partly real-time stream protocol and the full form of RTSP is the real-time transfer protocol. Hence the application layer protocol RTSP and the transfer layer protocol RTP. So RTSP is similar to a CV remote like Control C, as you will see the following slide, and actual data transfer occurs via the RTP protocol. So there are some major RTP methods. First is the setup, which allows the server to allocate resources to a stream as the name suggests and starts an RTSP stream. The play method, which helps to start the data transmission on the stream. Pause method is the opposite of it, which halts the stream temporarily. And the tear down method provides free resources of the stream, and after this no RTSP session on server occurs anymore. Then there are some RTSP operations which could be explained to the following diagram, and by this we can see here how the RTSP and RTP work. So first, a typical HTTP request is sent from client to server, and then the client sends a setup request using the RTSP protocol and the server responds. Reply to the client that I have received a set of requests and I have processed that RTSP setup request after that, and then after that client will send play request. So server will also reply to that play request to client, and after that server will start sending data of stream using RTP protocol to the client. And if client sends pause request to the server, then sending data from server to client using RTP protocol will temporarily paused. And if the client sends close request, then it will be closed as we have seen earlier. So now we will see the implementation in the Python code. So let's start with the Python explanation. So this is the HTTP packet code. So here we have first initialized the header array by the header size, which is 12. Then we initialize the init, and then we initialize the endpoint function. So we give the header, initialize the header as the header array of size 12, initialize the timestamp, and this is the part of code that we needed to complete. So the header is of the 32 bits or 4 byte size. So we are dividing it accordingly. First the header is divided into 4 parts, then it is divided into 2 parts. The sequence number is also divided into 2 parts, and then the timestamp is divided into 4 parts, and then the SSRC, which is also divided into 4 parts. Then we are initializing the header by this information, and we are initializing the payload too from the argument. And what is payload? Payload is the actual info that is sent from client to server. Then this is the initialization of the payload by the byte stream of the array. Then this is the function which returns the version of our connection. This returns the sequence number. This function returns the timestamp. This function returns the payload type, and the return type will be stated here. This is it. This is it. This is also it. Here here we get the payload, which is the string return type, and here we are getting the packet, which is the header plus payload, and they are written as string. So this was about the RTP packet type. So continuing then to the server file. This server file we executed is this function is executed. So decoding the class server. First we initialize the server port as the first argument, and if it is not initialized, we will print that it is already occupied. Then we will initialize the RTSP socket by the following information, and then we will bind it and limit the connections to 5. After this, the server will go into the listening state, and when the client information is received, then client RTTP socket will be initialized, and it will be accepted. The connection will be accepted, and after this, the server worker function will start to run. So this is the server worker file. First we will initialize the setup, then we will create a thread for our connection. Then first we will run the receive RTSP request function. In this we are initializing the connection socket by the client info information, and if that is true, we are initializing the data by the receiving segment of the connection socket, and if the data is completed, we will print that data is received. Then after receiving the RTSP request, we will process that RTSP request, so we will run this function. So for this we will first get the request type, after that we will get the media file name, and after that we will get the RTSP sequence number by this. So after this we will process the setup request. So if the request type is setup, we will first initialize the state as init, and we will print that we are the processing the setup. So we will try this by initializing the client info as the video stream file, and we will set the state as ready, and if this does not happen, we will show the error to the screen. After this we will generate a randomized RTSP session ID. If that is generated, we will send the RTSP reply, and after that we will get the RTP port from the last line. So after this we will process, we will check if it is a play request or not. So if it is a play request, we will set the state as ready, and we will print processing play, and the state will be set to play after that. And for this, it is a play request, so we will create a new socket for it, and after that we will create a new thread and start sending the RTP packets. What if the request type is pause? So here we will first the state is playing, then we will print processing pause, and then after that we will make the state as ready. So here we are pausing the whole system. And here we are discussing the state. What if the request type is tear down? So here we will print that processing tear down, and we will eventually close the RTP socket. So this was about the setting up. This is about the sending the RTP request. So by this we will send the RTP request. We will first initialize the client info to be wait. Then we will stop sending if the request is the pause or tear down, because we are here need to send the request. We will initialize the data as our video stream files next frame, and if the data is received, we will give the frame number as the video stream files frame number, and we will try to assign the address, try to assign the port, and then we will send it to the server. This is the make RTP function, which packetize the video data. So this is about creating this is initialization for it. This is the RTP packet, and this will run the function, and then we will encode or give our information in it, and we will get the return desired type. This is the reply RTSP packet, which will give us the reply of the RTSP. First we are initializing the reply, then we are initializing the connection socket, and then after that we are sending the data, sending the reply. And then these are the error message. If any error occurs, this thing does not run, so we will display this kind of error message. So this was about the server worker code.
Hello everyone. So this is the code for client side. This will basically run on client side. So here first of all we are setting up the variables which will be accepted from system input. So first of all, the address of the server and the port number of the server, and the port number of RTP protocol on which it will be running, and then the file name which will be played, which will be streamed. So after that we are creating our GUI using this kinter, and then we are just making the client class, basically running the client class. So yes. So this is the main client class. Here we are just importing the kinter GUI builder and all. Then from here the main client class starts. First of all, we are initializing the state variables. So if the value of the state variable is 0, then it's in initialization mode. If the state variable has value equal to 1, then it's ready to play. If the state variable has the value 2, then it is playing. And again the variables that our video is in which mode, if it's paused or it is being played, or we the setup is completed or not. So from here the function starts. First of all, we have the initialization function. Here we are initializing the needed variables like the server address, port number, RTP port number, the file name of which is being played, the sequence and session ID and all. Also we are calling the create widgets function, which is here. So this function will basically build the GUI, which will be the pop-up window. In that we have some buttons like setup button, play button, pause button and tear down button. This is the front end basically. We have given the size and padding and width and all. Then we have the setup movie function, which is called when we click on the setup button, and it will check whether the state is in initialization mode. If it is, then it will send the RTSP request to set up the connection between server and client. If it is not, then it will do nothing. Then we have the exit client function. It will be called when we click on the tear down button. It will send the RTSP request to tear down the video, and then to destroy that window, and just delete the cache files and images. Then we have pause movie function. It will be called when we click on the pause button. So it will first of all check the state that whether this is in the state of the current video is in playing. If it is, then we'll send the RTSP request to server to pause the video. Then we have again the play movie function, which will be called when we click on the play button. It will also again check that if the video is ready to play. So to play, it will create the thread and it will send the RTSP request to play that video. Then we have the listen RTP function, which will be the continuous loop in which will try to get the data packet. If we are able to get that packet, then we will decode the packet and will print the current sequence number of the video, and we will check if the current frame number is greater than the frame number. Like we will ensure that it is not the late packet. So if it is not, then we will save the current frame number and will update the frame in that video, or else we will just shut down the connection or we'll just close that window. Then we have write frame function, which will just like create the string of that cache image file using the cache file name and extension. It will be returned when we call the write frame function. Then we have update movie function. It will update the file as the sequence number frame by frame. So it will update the GUI frame by frame and play that video. Then we have connect to server function. So it will, as the name suggests, it will connect the client to the server using this socket function, and then it will send the RTSP request to connect this connect the client to the server using the server address and server port number. If we are not able to make this, then it will just show connection failed or connection to this server address is failed. Then we have send RTSP request function. So it will basically, which we need to complete this function. So here first of all we will check what's the requested code, what's the we want to make do, right? So we will check whether we want to set up the connection or play the video or pause the video and all. So we will check whether the requested code is in setup or the state is in initializing mode, and we will just increase the sequence number to +1. Then we will manipulate the string which will be printed like this. We will show that we will run the function, and each time we will save the request, that which request is done last time. Then if the requested code is to play that video, then again we will just manipulate that string and set the last sent request as play. And same for the pause button. Again we will just manipulate the request string and update the request sent variable. Same for the tear down. Then at the end we'll call the RTSP socket function to send this request, and we will print that string, right, which is being manipulated beforehand. Then we have received RTSP reply function, so which will here we will receive the reply from the RTSP socket. If we are able to receive the reply, then we will decode it using this function. If we are not, then we'll check whether it is in tear down mode or not. If it is, then we will just close the window and shut down the function. Then we have pass RTS reply function, in which we will basically get the sequence number, and we will check that if the sequence number is same as the RTSP sequence number. If it is, then we will again initialize. If the session ID is not initialized, then we will initialize it as session, and if the session ID, will check if it is already initialized, then we will check whether it is same as the session or not. So if it is same, then we will request then we will check that request is to set up or to play the video or pause or same as tear down. Then we will just update the state of that object, self object, as ready, play, pause and tear down. And then we have open RTP port function, which will basically create a new socket using this function, and then we will try to bind that socket with that given port number, system given port number. If we are not able to bind that, then we will just print that unable to bind the port number. Then this is just the handler function to pause or to close the movie. Okay, so where is the demo for the program? First of all, we will create the server, and in the second terminal we will create the client, which will take the server address as this one, server port number as 1025, and the file name. So here is the that name pop-up window. So first of all, if we click to set up the video, then we can see that the client send the request to server. Yes, server received that request with the video set up. Then we can play this video. So as you can see that client send to the request to play the video, and then here server is playing this video. You can see the current sequence number. Then we have the pause function. As you can see, received the request to pause the video. Then again we can start the video, and as you can see it is in loop and playing the video frame by frame. Then we can close the connection. So you can see the window is being shut down, and you can see that client requested to tear down this window. Yes,